Charles, get the rifle out. We're being fucked.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is a little bit more serious than what I do normally, and it's for a number of reasons. One is that YouTube took my last video down pretty damn quick, and the other is a pointer from a subscriber friend of mine that I've met, and he tells me that there used to be a budding community of people back in the day in the UK that used to own their own guns and were licensed and could go out and shoot in competitions. Admittedly, it was against the police a lot of the time, and they used to whip their fucking asses. But here in the UK, up until 1996, we had never had a mass shooting. And then suddenly, an indoctrination camp got hit, and on the back of that, we lost our license to carry or to have handguns. So I'm going to be looking into what happened on that day in the indoctrination camp back in 1996, and we're going to be looking for anything that tells us that it could be a psyop. So let's get into the video and let's find out what we can see.
They fucking shot me! I'll shoot them back!
So if you follow people like Matrix Breakout, Jungle Surfer, Krishnan, Justin Hollowhead, myself, you will know that we cover the 7 code, and the smoking gun often is the 33 for masonry.
Jesus, Plane, couldn't you have got smokeless cartridges? I can't see a bloody thing.
So the day in question was March 13th. March 13th, of course, we got 3, 1 and 3 for our 7. And if we look, 1996 was in fact a leap year. So March 13th was the 73rd day of the year, 73 being our 777 code. And if you have a look in Chaldean, we can see that March 13th is also 44 for death's doors. Coincidence? Well, the numbers speak for itself sometimes. Now, we like to be a little bit dramatic here in the UK, so we use the word massacre rather than shooting. Massacre, we can see, is 2 5s for our 7. And Hamilton is an interesting name that the Jungle Surfer has covered many times in his videos. The smoking gun for me here on this incident happens to be in the gymnasium, and I will get to that shortly. But we lost 16 children that day, and 16 of course is our 7 code. Now this fellow is a very unsavoury type by all accounts. He's got the Masonic 11 and our 7 code within his name, and they have, the powers that be have blanketed any information about him on this case for 100 years. Now that sort of censorship, well, it's just ridiculous really. But anyway, he shot one teacher dead. One teacher happens to be 56. 56 is 7 by 7 plus 7 for our 777 code. And just by some marvel stroke of coincidence, we also have 15 others injured, which also gives us our 7 code, our 56, our Masonic 11 for our 777 code. So what did he do? Well, the lady in question was Gwen Mayer. Gwen Mayer, we can see our 7 code. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit here. We won't cover that much, but we'll have a look. So at about 8:15, straight away we can see our 777 with 8:15 is 8 plus 1 plus 5 for 14 on Wednesday 13th of March 1996. He was aged 43 for another 7, so we got our 777 code on the top line. He was seen scraping off ice outside his home in Kent Road. Kent Road happens to be 34 for a 7. He left soon afterwards and drove around 5 miles being 21 for our 777. Hamilton arrived on the grounds at around 9:30 AM and parked his van near the telegraph pole in the car park of the school. He cut the cables at the bottom of the telegraph pole which served nearby houses with a set of pliers. Pliers happens to be 34 for a 7. Before making off his way across the car park towards the school buildings. Now, I don't know what sort of pliers they were, but when you have a look at the picture here for a telegraph pole, I don't think so. It's not possible. But anyway, let's crack on. Okay, so Hamilton headed towards the northwest side of the school. Northwest being 43 for our 7. To a door near the toilets of the school gymnasium. Now, as I mentioned, the gymnasium is where I found the smoking gun for me. But I'll get to that point shortly. After entering, he made his way to the gymnasium armed with 4 legally held handguns. 2 9mm Brownings, 2 Smith & Wessons. Hamilton was also carrying 743, 743 being 7 plus 4 plus 3 is a 14 for a double 7 of ammunition. In the gym was a class of 28, 28 being 2 8s is 16, 1 plus 6, we have our 7. Primary 1 pupils preparing for PE lessons. Now PE lessons I'm going to get into shortly because that is the smoking gun in the presence of 3 adult staff members. Right, it gets a little bit unbelievable at the end of this paragraph. Before entering the gymnasium, it is believed Hamilton fired 2 shots into the stage of the assembly hall and the girls' toilets. Upon entering the gym, as he was about to be confronted by Eileen Harrod, the PE teacher in charge of the lesson, he started shooting rapidly and randomly. He shot Harrod, who was injured in her arms and her chest, as she attempted to protect herself, and continued shooting into the gym. Harrod stumbled into the open-plan store cupboard at the side of the gym along with several injured children. Gwen Mayer, the teacher of the primary 1 class, was shot and killed instantly. The other adult present, Mary Blake, which we'll get to at the end of this video, a supervisor assistant, was shot in the head and both legs, but somehow managed to crawl into the store cupboard with several of the children in front of her. So as promised, we're going to get to the smoking gun. This actress here, 20 years on, was supposedly a victim, and it was watching this news article where I suddenly realised that the PE lesson was 33 for masonry and that they also hid in the cupboard. For me, that's a smoking gun. So on the back of this, the people of the UK lost the right to own guns during this 4-minute massacre, and we can see all the code here. In the vowels we got our 33, and we got in the consonants 44 for death's doors. So there's just one more little clip I'd like to show you, and that is of the teacher that got shot in the head, and the doctor at the end of that explains it well and gives the game away.
She required a total blood transfusion of something like 4 units. So although her injuries, when you recount them, seem relatively superficial and indeed were described as relatively minor in previous news bulletins, I think you would agree they were quite substantial. She also is perhaps one of the luckiest ladies around, or she has one of the hardest heads.
And
She has come to no harm from that.
Here we are then, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I'll be back on the next. But no harm gives us our 33 for masonry. Cheerio. Thanks a lot for watching.